he just was a remarkable human being. And the sacrifice is all the greater when you sit on the porch at Mount Vernon and you realize what he left and gave up. And then when he returned, it was right around Christmas when the war ended. I can't imagine what that homecoming, they say it was very emotional. But then he didn't live that much longer, a few years.
We'll talk about this and much more today. Welcome to a Writer's Day podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to Writer's Day podcast. I'm so honored to have you here with me today. I know you have so many podcasts to listen to, and so I'm honored that you've taken some time out of your day to listen to this author interview. I think you'll really enjoy it. So head over to Spotify and follow me, head over to YouTube and subscribe. And if you like today's episode, please leave a comment or a review. I'd love to know what you think. And as usual, head over to artbyruth.com to sign up for my newsletter where you can learn more about my upcoming projects like Book 3 in my Desert Shadows suspense series and Book 1 in my new series. The cover reveal and title reveal will be coming in February. So head over to artbyruth.com today and you can get a downloadable copy of my short story, Support Group. It's a unique, speculative story that I think you'll enjoy. Okay, on to the good stuff. Laura Frantz is with me again today. She is the two-time Christie Award winner and a best-selling author of more than 15 novels. Wow, and today she's here to talk about her new book, The Belle of Chatham, set during the American Revolutionary War. So you know the drill. Grab your favorite beverage, a comfortable chair, kick back and relax as we listen to Laura Frantz talk about her new book. Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy New Year. I'm so excited to have Laura Frantz on the podcast again with me. Welcome back, Laura.
Well, it's wonderful to start a new year with you. Thank you, Ruth.
Sure. Gosh, I think we've spoken probably 4 or 5 times.
We have. I missed you in those interim times, but I keep up with you like we were saying with your newsletters. So.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so honored. And it's always a treat to have you because your stories are so amazing, and I'm looking forward to hearing about the Belle of Chatham. Woo! But first, why don't you tell us how your new year is off to? Is it off to a good start?
Well, it always starts with a bang because January 1st, I have a novel due every year. So I used to release on January 1st a new novel and then turn a novel in for the next January. But my editors kindly moved my book release in January now to the 20th. It falls on the 20th this year, this new novel. And then like I said, turned my next one in on January 1st, and we'll be getting that back in a bit. But for now, we get to have a little fun with this one.
Well, so yeah, that sounds like a busy way to start the year. My goodness. And so have you noticed that your writing process has changed at all?
It's gotten a little more hurried. I used to write in longhand because I think better in longhand for
Wow.
past novels, but it's very time consuming. A lot of my author friends laugh because that's just kind of prehistoric stuff. I'm old school and I just prefer handwritten everything. But I've been releasing a novel and a novella for the last couple of years, and you just have to change up what you're doing to make it
Hmm.
work. So I only write longhand if I get stuck in a scene and I need to kind of reconnect with the old style that I used to write in. But it's just crazy busy time, but a good time, lots on the horizon this year. I'm taking a trip in June to England in relation to the next book. And but I'm currently going to enjoy 2026 because it only comes around ever so often. These anniversaries of independence. The
Mm-hmm.
last one, I was young enough to have marched in a parade in the bicentennial.
Yeah.
So to be alive for this is quite the thing for me.
Yes, I remember that too. The bicentennial celebration was so exciting, and it's going to be this whole year. The
Yeah,
entire year, there's going to be little celebrations along the way. So I'm super excited, like you are.
yeah, it's fun to see what's unfolding. Lots of patriotism and different things in different states and even just in DC itself. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, perfect for the theme of your new book.
Yes, I know. And I had planned it that way because I
Nice.
knew that it was coming, and I'm with the Daughters of the American Revolution who, really major on those type uh, events and celebrations. And I thought, I'm so thankful to be an American. I can express that gratitude and thankful to God for putting me here. I think of the
Mhm.
scripture, he assigns us times and seasons to live. And I'm thankful that I'm here now and in this amazing country and just get to write about it. So I thought, why not pen a novel set to honor that occasion? So here you have, I think it's novel 17.
Well, let's talk about the Belle of Chatham. Tell us about this amazing story set during the year of independence, American independence. Wow.
Well, it's really a tale of courtship and marriage, duty versus desire, faith and forgiveness. It's set in New Jersey at the start of the American Revolution in 1777. And then it kind of carries for about a year, little more than a year and about 4 months. And it just was an amazing story to write. It was probably my most challenging to date because the American Revolution is so complex. And I am not a student of that war. I had to kind of become one. And
Mm.
I'm certainly not well versed on it, like we would say Ken Burns would be, who just put out that amazing series. I think it was 10 hours on the American Revolution, which I
Mhm.
did watch. I think you could study the American Revolution forever and still just be a novice. But this is my tribute in this novel to being an American and what I uncovered and all that that means.
That's amazing. Yes, I definitely have to go watch that documentary.
Yeah.
Well, so tell us the actual story. It's a romance, and so it involves Mabel and Coralie.
Yeah, Coralie is the sister, and it was interesting developing those two because they're extremely different, as most sisters are. Some sisters are close and some sisters are not. And it was interesting to take a look at what unravels relationships and what brings people together. And so my publisher seemed to place a lot of emphasis on the sisterly relationship. And it is very front and center in the book, but of course, I also write historical romance. So my heart is drawn to the hero, who is one of the amazing riflemen of the American Revolution, and one of the reasons the war was won. And to put him in a place where he meets the heroine, and it's quite I want to say historical fireworks. I think I've used that before, but just have the story unspool and see what happens when you put all these conflicting passions and personalities together.
Mm. How do you find the balance, though, between the romance of the story, the history, and the high stakes, family drama?
That's a good question because my problem, even more than that, is to not let the history take front seat and upstage everything. And with the American Revolution, it's easy to do that. There's so much information, and I address that in the author note, you're constantly having to take in all this, what take in information on the American Revolution and then decide what to keep and what to toss. And so I had to keep reminding myself that the romance was foremost, even above the sisterly or familial relationships. But it was very hard. It was frustrating and challenging, and I'm not think I did it, but I'm not sure. We'll see what readers say.
Yeah, they'll let you know, huh?
Yeah, they already have in some ways as far as their sisters and which sisters they like and which they don't. So,
Yeah, because May falls in love with the American general, but she suspects her sister of treason. Wow.
yes, it gets quite testy, quite contentious. And I think when I was writing it, I asked myself, what would I have done in that situation? What would I have done if I was May? How would I have responded? And, it's hard to say. It's hard to step back in time and put on your character's clothes, especially 18th century dress, and, really try to look at things from their perspective. We can only guess because we really can't even imagine what they went through during that war. We just really have no idea.
That's true. We can only imagine. I would not want to be a woman living during those times. That's for sure.
No, you're wise. I used to think as I grew up, because I was so enamored with the past, that I would was born in the wrong century. But, I have already mentioned the Bible verse, the Lord assigns our times and our seasons. And I now see that I am so thankful. I would not have lived. I probably would have been a child mortality case, because so many children died.
Hmm.
But I wouldn't probably have survived back then. It was horrendously difficult to stay alive. And,
Yeah,
we're so blessed in this current century to have all that we have. We just can't even, there shouldn't be a minute that goes by that we're not completely and utterly thankful.
absolutely. Well, so with such a setting as the, war, the American Revolution, the New York frontier, where a lot of battles were happening, what made you want to go with the theme of family and, being torn apart instead of, more of like a political thriller or, something to do with brothers on the battlefield or something? What made you want to go in that direction with two sisters?
I thought it would probably resonate more with people or readers, my women readers. And but it just felt more. I don't have a sister actually. I only have a brother. But the more accounts I read of families during that time, I realized what turmoil the war wrought for many. It was not clear. Families did choose sides. They were forced to. There were a lot of people during that time that didn't want a war. They wanted to stay out of it. But oftentimes it pitted brother against brother, father against son. And even Benjamin Franklin he and his son had a huge falling out over it and never reconciled. So it's just fascinating when you see real figures and their struggles and what happened to families. Many were fractured forever. And I don't think we realize the sacrifice and the trauma they endured back then.
That's so true. Sometimes it's easy to romanticize it, right?
It is.
We
And the
tend to
fun,
do that with the Civil War too.
oh, that's true. And that's another war. Wow, what a minefield that is. But again, since I write historical romance, the story is full of hope. There's some lighthearted moments in it. There's a character that I love in the novel, Lucy. And she just brought a lot of joy to me as I was writing and kind of balanced out some of the heavy stuff. So I think
Sure.
you need characters that do that in novels. It's easy to turn a novel set during wartime into this just big dismal slog, and I didn't want to do that.
Mm.
And my novels always end happily ever after, and I think that's realistic too. And I tried to make it as believable and authentic as possible.
Mm. So you had to do so much research, but what were some surprising historical details you discovered?
There were so many. Probably could write a book on that. One of the things was how active or how involved women were during that era in the war. And so I bring that out in this novel, the many ways women contributed. And I have quotes at the beginning of each chapter some by women, that give you kind of a little bird's eye view of their involvement. Another thing was that George Washington's army was, it's a miracle they survived and overcame the British with all their Hessian, their imported European troops. The fact that we have a country at all, and we're a young country. I mean, this is only 250 years. The
Hmm.
fact that we even exist right now based on those fragile foundings, it really is a miracle. And I think, I believe with all my heart, that it is because George Washington, he had faults, as we all do, but he honored the Lord, and he had a Christian worldview, and he wanted to make found this nation on Christian values and principles, and that's still resounding, though people are at work to overthrow that.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember we went to go visit Mount Vernon and we sat on that back patio that overlooks the Potomac River, you know?
Oh, it's so
And
stunning.
oh, I know
Yeah.
the sun was setting and we were sitting out there and it was so peaceful. And I told my husband I could see why he wanted to just come home and
Yes,
retire, just
beneath
sit
the
out here.
yes, beneath his own vine and fig tree, I think he said. And that was the last thing I'll say is that he was away from home 8 years or more. He never wanted that assignment.
Yep.
He was a wonderful soldier. He had from the French and Indian War onward. I mean, he was a surveyor. He was a kind of a Renaissance man. He wore many hats. He didn't want to be the general. He didn't want a revolution. He did, but he didn't. He didn't want to head it off. I think if anybody else had been in his shoes, we wouldn't have won. I
Hmm.
think it was he just was a remarkable human being, and the sacrifice is all the greater when you sit on the porch at Mount Vernon and you realize what he left and gave up. And then when he returned, it was right around Christmas, when the war ended and the treaty was signed in September. He returned by Christmas, released all his troops, and I can't imagine what that homecoming, they say it was very emotional. But then
Hmm.
he didn't live that much longer, a few years. And so I thought, what a sad ending. He wasn't old, but I'm sure the war had aged him tremendously. He'd seen a lot of his men die, he'd seen horrible things,
Hmm.
and it had probably taken a huge toll. And I think we often forget about that.
We do. I mean, when you look at their pictures, they're these old men, right? But when you look at how old they were when they signed the Declaration of Independence, they were young,
Very
you
young. I
know?
mean, some of them were, late teens, early 20s.
Hmm. Yep.
And really what they were doing is they were saying, I'm considered a traitor to the British crown, and if we lose
Hmm.
the war, then I'm hung or shot or whatever.
Hmm. Yeah. And
And
some
so,
of
and
them
that many
lost
of them
everything.
lost
Yeah,
everything,
they
right,
did.
and never got it back. And I think it's just a good reminder, even in a small way, to honor that in the book, even if, it's not J.K. Rowling, it's not going to sell millions of copies, but if you, even in a little way, if somebody reads it, they can appreciate maybe what our country means, and the patriots that fought to give us what we have and we still enjoy today.
So, what do you hope readers will take away from May's story?
The fact that God works in history, history is his story. I've said that before. And that America has a purpose and a place. We're here for a reason. We're, you know, I pray that we will still be here, till Jesus comes back. Or, but we don't know. The world is very uncertain. It seems like it's spinning out of control a lot, but God definitely he's overall, and
Hmm.
nothing escapes him, and he can be trusted, I guess, in uncertain times, war times or not war times, just any time. And we need to make sure that our foundation is based upon him and his word, because that's the truth.
Well, the Belle of Chatham is available right now, so be sure and get your copy on Amazon today. And what are you working on next?
Oh my goodness. So I just turned one in January 1st. It's set in London, 1798, and I'm calling it my Statement of Faith book. It involves the saints, they were called then, the evangelicals, that
Mm.
like William Wilberforce and some of the movers and shakers in that time period. And it is absolutely fascinating history to me. And I hope that readers will enjoy it too.
Ooh, that sounds amazing. And so you're going to be heading over to England?
I am in June. I'm so
Ooh.
excited. I wasn't sure that that would come off, but appears to be ready to book the airline tickets now. So it's going to
Wonderful.
be real. I think it's going to be here before we know it.
Yay, how
Ja-
exciting.
January to June, it flies by.
Wonderful. Well, so how can your readers get in touch with you? Can they head over to your website and sign up for your newsletter?
Yes, laurafrance.net. My newsletter is on that homepage. And also, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see my social media icons there. And I'm pretty active on social media, especially Facebook author page and Instagram. And I love my readers and I love my newsletter. So I would love to see people there.
Oh, fantastic. So, listeners, you heard Laura. Head over to laurafrance.net and sign up for her newsletter today so you can learn more about the upcoming book set in England. Ooh, sounds amazing. And don't forget to head over and get your copy of The Belle of Chatham. Laura, it's always a delight to talk with you. Thank you so much for visiting with us today.
Oh, it's been a joy. Thank you, Ruth.
As usual, it was such a delight to talk with Laura Frantz about her new book. Ah, just amazing. The Belle of Chatham. She is so brave to tackle such a setting as the American Revolution. Wow. So head over to Amazon today and get your copy of The Belle of Chatham and sign up for her newsletter so you know what's coming next. I hope that you've been encouraged by Laura's story about her resilience and her willingness to overcome those obstacles to write a beautiful story. I know I've been inspired, and as soon as I log off, I'm going to go right on my next book because she just gets me so motivated to write. So keep going forward on your writing journey, one step at a time, because like I always say, someone out there needs to read your story. Thanks for listening. Until next time, God bless.